So in the third question, the only difference is now we have three fractions that we're adding and subtracting. So we need a common denominator between all three of them. So what I would do is I would leave space out in front of the first one. I'll rewrite the second one, and then I'm going to leave space behind it. And then there's always space behind the last one. So I look at my numbers, 3, 2, and 4. Lowest common denominator, can you see, would be 12. So the 2, that needs a 6 and a 6. The 4 needs a 3 and a 3. And the 3 would need a 4 and a 4. Okay? Variables, there's an a squared. So the first one needs the a squared. Second one is good. And the third one needs an a. Double check if I multiply this out, if I have common denominators. And they all multiply to give me 12a squared, so things are good. Now I can multiply the tops, I'm going to get a 30a squared, 9 here, and an 8a there. So now that I have a common denominator with all of them, it's going to be over 12a squared, and none of the top are like terms. Now you could write it like this, or if you look at the bottom where the answer, and they of course also wrote the non-permissible value. If you look at the bottom, you notice how they wrote 30a squared and then the plus 8a and then the minus 9? That's perfectly fine as well. That's probably nicer if you had to factor it afterwards. But as far as checking, if I can simplify this more, I have to look, is there a common factor between all of them? Because right now, remember, these are all grouped together. You can only simplify if we're multiplying, and that adding and subtracting would group that as one huge factor. If I could take out a common factor, then maybe I could simplify. I could take out an a, but the 9 doesn't have an a in it. So this is done, and it is simplified. B is a little bit harder because, rewrite it first. So B, leave space in front of the first one, 8x squared plus 4z minus 4 over 3z. We'll leave space after that one, minus 8 minus z over 6. All right. Same thing, I'm going to see this gets grouped together, this gets grouped together, this gets grouped together. And in order to add and subtract, I need a common denominator. So with my numbers 8, 3, and 6, can you see that the lowest common denominator is 24? So I'm going to need to multiply by a 3 and a 3 here, an 8 and an 8 here, and a 4 and a 4 here. Variables. There is x squared and z, so this one's missing a z. Double checking that I wrote everything down right. I didn't. Nobody said anything. You guys are so mean to me. Did you, there was, I wrote x squared. And what was it? That makes a big difference. Because if it was a z squared, I don't need another z there. I'm actually good in the first one, but the second one needs another z. And the third one needs a z squared. And it's important that I put those brackets because this has to get distributed. This has to get distributed. And this has to get distributed. So now I do have 24z squared plus, and this one has a 24z squared, and this one has a 24z squared. So I'm double check, all my denominators are the same. If I multiply the top, I'm going to get 6z plus 3. Here I'm going to get 32z squared minus 32z. And here I'm going to get 32z squared minus 4z cubed. And again, this is grouped together, this is grouped together, this is grouped together. And we have the notorious subtract sign. So I think it's not bad when you have that subtract sign and we group it together to actually draw these arrows to remind yourself that's going to happen. That negative is going to hit both of those. Now typically when we write an answer, just like that last question, the order doesn't matter, but typically if we are going to write it, we're going to write the highest degree first, so the biggest exponents first, and work our way down. So across the top, I noticed that z cubed is the biggest one. So I would write that first. And because I remembered the arrows, I'm like, oh yeah, it's actually going to be positive 4z cubed. It's so easy just to look at that negative 4z cubed and say that's the only one and write the negative out in front. So those arrows were super important there. Then my z squareds are next. I have a 32z squared and then minus another 32z squared. Oh my goodness, they go away completely. Don't have to write any z squareds. My z's, do I have any like terms? Yeah, I have a 6z and a minus 32z. That's going to give me minus 26z. And my numbers is just the 3, which stays plus 3. Obviously, textbook writes the non-permissible value z can't equal 0. This is all grouped together. So unless I can factor out something, I can't cancel out the 4 and the 24 or the z squared and the z because it's all grouped together and we can only simplify if we're multiplying. So this is our final answer. Okay. So you have the rest of the class to work on all of these questions. And you can circle the rest of the questions from 9 to 13.